Hey, welcome to Ryan's Weekly Whatever. I am Ryan, and today I want to talk about how I want more media that deals with killing. Now, obviously, there's plenty of media that contains killing, but it doesn't really deal with it. It's more of a spectacle to use for action and excitement. I want to see more media that actually deals with killing. Not just murder, but other killing that might be considered more justified or have some authority behind it. I was running a D&D game recently that got me thinking about this. My current group is mostly new players that don't really fall into the murder hobo category. They're more focused on role-playing and are playing very pacifistic characters. They've been through combat, but it's mostly been against creatures and just non-sentient enemies. So when they had their first encounter against humanoids, it was a bit of a weird encounter for them. They were attacked by a group of humans, and they didn't want to kill anyone, they just wanted to escape. All except for the very aggressive orc in the party, who very much wanted to kill the attackers to get revenge. The rest of the party was not okay with this, and trying to stop him through various methods, including a sleep spell that didn't go off entirely as they expected, and in the end, the orc got his way and killed one of the attackers. And my party was wrecked over this. They were mourning the death of this person who was trying to kill them, and it had weight to them in a way that I haven't seen in most other deaths in D&D games I've played, or even in a lot of other, movies, TV shows, or video games. So it got me thinking, where do I see this kind of quality and weight put on death and killing in media? And the only really good example I could think of off the top of my head was in Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is a children's show where the main character doesn't want to kill his enemy in the end. They're kind of building to this big confrontation, and before he gets there, he has this internal struggle about whether he can solve this issue non-lethally.
Everyone, even my own past lives, are expecting me to end someone's life. But I don't know if I can do it.
And in the end, it is a kid's show, and they don't have the main character just murder their enemy, but it has a genuine weight to it. And we can feel the anguish of this character and the value he puts on the life of this other person and how much he doesn't want to kill them, even though it would mean saving the lives of thousands of people. He does not want to be a killer. I think a much worse version of this story we can see in Man of Steel. Now, I'm not saying that in order to do a story about killing that, the protagonist has to turn away and find another solution. I think that would also be, kind of a fantasy land where every problem can be solved without, killing your enemies. And, there are situations where that just isn't true. But to have a character just so quickly throw away his moral of not killing, it seems a little weak to me. So looking at video games, I was really excited for The Outer Worlds. It advertised itself as having real meaning and consequences to the choices you make, including who you choose to kill in the game. And to some extent, this is true. The killing of certain characters does have weight put on it by the other characters around you.
Are you out of your mind? You just killed him.
And even the factions that you choose to fight is up to you. You can choose who the bad guys are. Except for the Marauders. You're just told, they're bad, nothing you can do, all you can do is kill them. And honestly, this didn't even seem that weird to me the first time I played. They told me, hey, this faceless enemy is bad. There's no reasoning with him, shoot him in the face. And so I did. It wasn't until I played with my sister, who isn't as much of a gamer as me, and she asked why we're killing all of these people, and I couldn't give her an answer other than, they're marauders, they're savages, and, well, the game told me it was okay. Even in this game that claims to put a lot of weight on your choices, one of the first things you're told to do is go kill an entire class of people indiscriminately. Now, I'm not saying The Outer Worlds is a bad game. I love a lot of its writing and humor, and the gameplay is really smooth and exciting, but it really doesn't have that much of an emphasis on the weight of killing. But there was another game that showed me that video games could portray real weight to killing, and that was Disco Elysium. In Disco Elysium, the protagonist wakes up with no memory, and as you go through the game, he learns more about himself. One of the things he starts suspecting about himself early on is that he might be a killer, and this distresses him. He hates the possibility that he might be a killer. As you go through the game, you eventually find a record that, yes, you have in fact killed people. He finds his police ledger, a document that shows his years on the service, how many cases he's solved, and how many people he's killed. 3. Now his partner lets him know that for the area he works and the number of years he's been a cop, this is a very low number, and many other cops in his district do not have a number nearly this low. Still, these 3 people weigh on him, and he hates the fact that he's killed people, regardless of how just the circumstances might have been. He does not want to be a killer, even though he knows it was probably in the service of protecting people. It was another death in the game that really affected me. Late in the game, you're chasing down a suspect, and you finally come across their hideout. Now, I went into this encounter, gun drawn, ready to kill them should the situation turn violent. I left it mourning their suicide. During the course of the interrogation, the suspect becomes so distraught at the possibility of being taken in that she shoots herself and ends her own life. That wrecked me, and it was largely because the game put weight on it. There were ways to get through that encounter without them dying, and the game let me know. It was because of the choices I was making on behalf of the protagonist that led to this character's death. After this death, there's a dialogue option to leave the case, quit being a cop, and be done with everything right there because of how distraught the protagonist is over failing to save this person. And honestly, that's how I was feeling, so I picked it. And it gives you an ending to the game right there. The game gives you a game over, and you have to go back from your last save if you want to keep playing. It actually gives this moment a lot of weight. Death isn't played for action or excitement. It's serious, and it's sad, and it's worth addressing. And I wish more media would address death and killing in this way. I'm not saying we need to get rid of every piece of action and adventure in media, just that sometimes it's good to slow down, to appreciate the beauty in life and the sadness in death, not treat death like a spectacle for excitement. That's all I got this week. See you next week.